Sharing is clear. Sharing.
نعم دكتور واضح.
So now we will discuss the direct method. Like the previous one, we will discuss the same steps, we can say, or points. But of course, the content is different. The direct method, first of all, we will see an introduction or a history of this method. As with the grammar translation method, the direct method is not new. Its principles have been applied by language teacher for many years. Most recently, it was revived as a method when the goal of instruction became learning how to use another language to what? To communicate. Since the grammar translation method was not very effective in what? In preparing student to use the target language communicatively. هنا التارجت language communicatively, this is our focus. And now, and we will paste maybe in the after 3 or 4 lecture, we paste on the communicatively, how can we communicate by English language, and this is our aim, especially in this time, and how can you use it in your work. As I told you, we deal with the communicative approach in our schools, in our colleges. The direct method became popular. The direct method has one very basic rule. What is it? No translation allowed. And we can't use here a target language. In fact, the direct method receives its names from the fact that the meaning is to be conveyed directly in the target language through the use of demonstration and visual what? And visual aids. With no resource to the student native language. Now let us see the experience of this method. The teacher is calling what? The class, I mean students, to order as well to find seats toward the back of the room. He has placed a big map of what? Of the USA in the front of the classroom. He asks the students to open their books to certain page number. Listen title, looking at the map. So we have students, we have teacher, we have class, we have board, we have title of the lesson. So here this is the teacher. This is what? A map or a title, mountains, and this is we have board and we have students in front of what? Of the teacher. So as I told you, we will see the details or summary of this experience in observations. So in observations, the student read aloud a passage about the geography of the United States of America. What's the principles? Reading in the target language should be taught from beginning of the language instruction. However, the reading skills will be developed through practice with the speaking. This is the first one. Next, the teacher points to the part of the map after each student's why or what is the principles. The objects, example really, or pictures present in the immediate classroom environment should be used to help students understand what the meaning. And next, the teacher uses the target language to ask the students if they have a question. What is the principles? The native language should not be used in the classroom, not like the previous method. 4. The teacher answers the student question by drawing on the whiteboard or giving what examples. What is the principle? The teacher should demonstrate, not explain or translate. Just demonstrate here, not explain or translate like the previous one. 5. The teacher asks questions about the map and the target language, which the student reply and completes sentences in the target language. What is the principles? Students should learn to think in the target language as soon as possible. And we don't need to use a native language. We need to understand by target language. Target language. 6. Student asks questions about the map. What is the reason? The purpose of the language learning is communication. Therefore, students need to learn how to ask questions as well as answer them. 7. The teacher works with the student on the pronunciation of الألفا chain أو الألفا chain. Pronunciation should be worked on right from beginning of language instruction. 8. The teacher corrects grammar errors by asking the students to make a choice. Why? Because self-correction facilitates language what? Language learning. The teacher asks a question about the student. Students ask each other questions. What's the principle? Lessons should be contain some conversational activity, some opportunities for students to use language in real context. Because we need the communication, so we need to use a real context. 10. The student fill in the blanks with a preposition practice in the lesson. Why? Grammar should be taught inductively. Okay, deductively or inductively. Like explicit and implicit. 11. The teacher dictates a paragraph about United States geography. And the United States geography, this example, you can use any lesson. Writing is an important skill to be developed from the beginning of the language instruction. 12. All of the lessons of the week involve United States geography. Why? Because the syllables is based on situation or topics. 13. A proverb used to discuss how Americans view punctuality. Why? Because learning another language also involves learning how speakers of that language learn. These are what the principles. Now let us see review the principles, but in other way. What are the goals of teacher who use the direct method? Teacher who use the direct method intend that students learn how to communicate in the target language. 2. What are the role of the teacher? What is the role of the teacher? What is the role of the students? Although the teacher directs the class activity, the student role is less passive than in the grammar translation method. 3. What are some characteristics of teaching learning process? Teacher who use the direct method believes student need to associate meaning with the target language directly. Next, what is the nature of the student-teacher interaction? What is the nature of the student-student interaction? The initiation of the interaction, according to that, goes both ways. And how can you see that? How can you see the meaning? You should what? You should know. And as I told you, we can consider that as what? as meaning for that in order to see initiation between that. So the initiation of the interaction goes both ways, from teacher to student and from students to teacher. So although the later is often teacher directed. How are the feeling of the students dealt with? There are no principles of the method which relate to this area. Next, how is language viewed? How is culture viewed? Language is a primary what? Spoken, not written. Second, what are areas of language are emphasized? What language skills are emphasized? Vocabulary is emphasized over grammar, although work on all four skills, reading, writing, speaking, and listening occurs from start. Oral communication is seen as basic. 8. What is the role of the student native language? The student's native language should not be used in the classroom, but in a previous lecture we can use it. I mean in a previous method. How is evaluation accomplished? We didn't actually see any formal evaluation in the class we observed. However, in the direct method, students are asked to use the language not to demonstrate their knowledge about the language. The last, how does the teacher respond to the student's error? The teacher, employing various techniques, tries to get students to self-correct whenever possible. Now we move to the techniques of this method. Reading aloud. What is meant by this technique? Students take turn reading sections of passage, play, or dialogue out loud. Questions and answer exercise. This exercise is conducted only in the target language, getting students to self-correct. The teacher of this class has the students self-correct by asking them to make a choice between what they said and alternative answer is supplied. The conversation practice. What is the meaning of this? The teacher asks the student a number of questions in the target language, which they have to understand to be able to answer what? Correctly. Fill in the blanks. Exercise. What is the meaning? This technique has already been discussed in the grammar translation method, being different in its application in the direct method. All the items are in the target language, not in another language or native language. At dictation, the teacher reads the passage 3 times, then asks students, allows students to write down what they are have heard. Yani we heard, we make students to what? To hear to the passage and to ask to write what they hear. And we use the same in TOEFL. Map drawing. The class include one example of the techniques used to give student listening comprehension practice. Paper, paragraph writing. The teacher in the class asks students to write paragraph in their own words on the major geography feature of the United States. Write about any topic or about any title or topic of the paragraph. Now I have finished the lecture. I have finished the lecture. Is it clear for you? Is it clear for you, this lecture? Is it clear?
Yes, Doctor. Clear.
Yes. So do you have any question about this lecture?
No, Doctor.
Okay. Now wait, I'll read your names. أبو الحسن
نعم
صلاح.
دكتور.
أحمد ستار.
يس دكتور.
إخلاص نعيم.
نعم دكتور.
الأمين محمد.
نعم دكتور.
مس آية عادل.
دكتور.
مس أيوب زهير.
نعم دكتور.
باقر عودة.
يس دكتور.
تقى أحمد. جليل غازي.
نعم دكتور.
غازي.
نعم دكتور.
حسين سلمان.
Yes, دكتور.
حوراء عدنان.
نعم
حوراء
دكتور.
عدنان. رانيا محمد.
يس دكتور. يس دكتور.
يس. رتاج.
نعم دكتور.
رملة كاسب. رملة.
نعم دكتور.
زهراء جبار.
نعم أستاذ. دكتور.
يس. زهراء سليم.
نعم دكتور.
وزهراء علي عبد الحسين. زينب محمد.
نعم دكتور.
يس. سجاد حسين.
نعم دكتور.
يس. سجاد صادق.
نعم دكتور. نعم دكتور.
يس. سجا رياض.
نعم دكتور.
يس. علي عبد الرضا.
يس
علي عزيز.
دكتور. يس دكتور.
يس.
يس.
علي كاظم.
يس دكتور.
فاطمة الزهراء كاظم.
يس دكتور.
يس. فاطمة جمعة.
يس دكتور.
فاطمة علي. كرار محمد.
يس دكتور.
يس. ماجد غانم.
نعم دكتور.
يس. محمد
نعم
جواد.
دكتور.
يس. محمد جواد.
يس دكتور.
محمد عصام.
نعم دكتور.
يس. مرتضى غازي.
نعم دكتور.
يس. مرتضى محمد.
نعم دكتور.
مروان
دكتور.
محسن.
يس دكتور.
يس.
يس
مروة علي. مريم رحيم.
العفو دكتور.
يس. اوكي مروة. اوكي مريم. يس. نعم.
الدكتور بس مروة مجازة.
عندها إجازة من القسم؟
نعم أستاذ.
يس. مريم عبد المطلب. منتظر عماد. يس. هو يا ريت النسخة مال إجازة مروة كرار، يا ريت إذا النسخة.
نعم أستاذ.
يس. دز لي إياها. أوكي. منتظر عماد.
نعم دكتور.
يس. مؤمل جاسم. مؤمل جاسم. نور الهدى كريم. نور عبد الكريم. نور محمد صيهود. هاجر سرحان. هاجر.
Yes, دكتور.
بس يوسف أحمد.
Yes, doctor.
يس. أحمد هليل. أحمد هليل. فاطمة علي. فاطمة علي. مهيمن عماد. مهيمن عماد.